What's going on, Pizza fam? Listen, before we get into the episode, I just wanted to make a quick shout out to Thrive POS. They've recently partnered with the podcast and they bring an exclusive offer for our listeners. Listen, Thrive POS is not just a POS system. It was built for operators just like us. It's fast, it's reliable, and most importantly, it helps us focus on what matters: our pizza, our people, and our profits. Check out the exclusive offer from Thrive POS at thrivepos.com/Pizza King, or just click the link in the description. Now let's get into the episode.
You know, when I was a young man, it was all about chasing that dollar bill. And not that money's not important. Obviously, it's what keeps the world running around. But I realized that being passionate about what I'm doing, being engaged in what I'm doing, working with folks that are like-minded, that are driven the same way, that challenge me differently. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And so getting to work with folks that get me thinking on a different level and inspire me to do better in different ways, it's worth more than the dollar to me.
All right, there we go. Welcome back to the Pizza King podcast. I'm the host, Tyrell Reed, joined here by Greg Bell from Perfect Crust Pizza Liners. Greg, thanks for joining us today. Tell us who you are and what you got going on there.
Well, I'm the South Central Regional Manager for Perfect Crust Pizza Liners, so I cover Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. We're obviously in the business of pizza liners. We also do bags. We also do bakeable trays. Just a couple different things. I've only been with the organization for a few months now, but I'm loving it, and I'm loving the environment. I'm loving the pizza community, as we like to call it. A lot of folks say industry. We've come to learn it's a big family.
For sure.
So it's a great place to be.
Nice. That's a big territory.
Yes.
Like I've done some regional stuff, but that's a little more than regional right there.
Yeah. It's
Colorado to Mississippi.
I'm border to border for sure. There's a lot of wide open spaces in the Midwest, as you know. So the dense populations, Dallas, New Orleans, St. Louis, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, those kind of places is kind of where our focus is. And we do pick up those outliers as well. But I try to kind of stay to the bigger areas to work and then kind of reach out from there. So.
Nice. So a few months with Perfect Crust. What were you doing before then?
Well, I actually spent the last few years with Pepsi in the beverage industry. I was a territory manager with them, which is like a regional manager. They just have different titles, and oversaw a sales team there. Was part of the sales force. I actually started there, strange enough. So I was spent 16 years with Harbor Freight Tools and hardline retail. I left that organization, and I was just burnt, just so worn out with the corporate America stuff that a lot of folks go through. The what I like to call to force individuals to work. I don't understand that mentality of having to make people do their work. And it was a very hard environment. Everybody, I think, understands staffing such a challenge these days to find the right people, to get the right people. And I actually lost my 9-year-old niece to cancer and my dad within months of each other. And I was spent. Thank you. So I actually started driving semi trucks. Just wanted to go to work, go home, done.
Yeah, when I get home, I'm done. I don't got to worry
Done.
about it. Nobody's
Responsible for myself. That's it. And I ended up working for Pepsi in a leadership role. Opened up, and I'd already kind of come to terms like God will open the door when the time's right for what my next move is going to be. And a leadership role came available there, and I went and talked to the gentleman in charge, and I told him my experience. He's like, I didn't know that about you. And I said, yeah, that's what I've done. So I gave him my resume, and I got promoted 3 times in a year, and it just went right up the ladder with them. And I loved the folks I worked with. I loved what we were doing there. Great people. I just saw was offered this opportunity with Perfect Crust, and then went and met the owners, Jeff and Nick, up in Minnetonka. And their passion for pizza, their passion for quality, their passion for this product, their love of their team and what they do, it was just contagious. There's no better way to put it. They're just great individuals. They treated me like royalty. Just really made me feel at home, made me feel welcome. And I just said, let's go. Let's go. And it's such a funny product. It's a pizza liner. How much effort is in a pizza liner? But I think about like the pizza operators and how they really try to deliver the same quality and consistency every single time. And that's what this product does. It helps them deliver that every single time to their customers. And it's actually a well thought out product. So
it makes a difference when you can sell a product that you're proud of too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and thanks for sharing your story. And it's funny because it sounds like you thought you were about to go hide on that truck, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's my plan.
And but that's not how it worked. You know, opportunities start to show up, and you know, shout out to you for just being within the right mindset to go after it when the time came.
Yeah,
That's sometimes people can't see through. Can't see the forest through the trees. You can't see those opportunities if you're so focused on just trying not to.
right, right.
But when
And and like I said, it was a timing thing for me. I needed that. I did need that break. I don't know if you've had anything in your career where you just had to step back for a second and just kind of say, all right, I need to reevaluate what my actual wants and desires were. When I was a young man, it was all about chasing that dollar bill. And not that money's not important. Obviously, it's what keeps the world running around. But I realized that being passionate about what I'm doing, being engaged in what I'm doing, working with folks that are like-minded, that are driven the same way, that challenge me differently. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And
absolutely.
so getting to work with folks that get me thinking on a different level and inspire me to do better in different ways, it's worth more than the dollar to me.
Absolutely. No, and yeah, I've absolutely been in that situation too, where it was, I was in a lot of corporate roles as well, regional director, vice president of operations for a franchise company. And it's like, my wife was like, you're going to work miserable, like almost every day. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's time to figure out what the next move is. And thankfully we'd always had our pizzeria. So it's like, I think the pizzeria is in a good enough spot that, I was talking to my partner. I'm like, are we good enough for me to come back full time here too? And he's like, dude, you be saving us. Come on.
Let's go.
So
Let's
so
go.
it let me get back to what I was passionate about, which was being in the shop and being with the team. And I was, you kind of had this joke for a while because my partner JR had been running the shop for us for years, and I kind of help him out when he needed a vacation or whatever, weekends or nights. But then I came back full time, and it's like, dude, this is great. Like, I'm not the boss and I don't have a boss. This is it's the life. So
you
like,
know, That's awesome. That's fantastic. I know that level of relief. You're just like, oh, God, that weight just leaves your shoulders, and you just feel like, okay. And it's funny, you get so much more engaged in the simple things in life. You start seeing your kids in a different light. They're not driving you bonkers like they do when you're coming home from a stressful day, or even your wife. She's not annoying you, and you're not annoying her. You're actually just happy to be together, and it's just when you're in the right place, everything seems to start to line up.
absolutely, yeah. And I was traveling a lot then. It was like literally get on a plane on Monday, come home Thursday.
My
Spend
gosh, we have the same life.
spend Friday in a pizza shop or doing some admin work here in the office. But it got to the point, I remember vividly, that there was my kids that my son Dallas had drawn a family picture, and I was not in the picture. And it was
No,
like, dude, we got to figure something out because this is, yeah, the money was great. And we could, I was obviously racking up air miles and, free days with National and, all the perks that come with it, right? None of the
right,
money,
right.
but I was missing them, and I didn't even exist. And that was rough. That was rough because even the weekend, you just try to recover enough to get
Oh,
back
yeah.
out. Sunday, I'm trying to get prepped, and Monday morning, 5 a.m., you're back out to the airport. So that was like, dude, I couldn't do it. I did it for, about 5 years. And it was like, okay, let's figure out what's next here.
Well, and how many times with those jobs on the weekend were you laptop open or on the phone and still working? I mean, when were those
All the
jobs are
time, because
never.
yeah,
Yeah,
all the time, because you still have to generate your reports every month, and you still have to engage with your franchise. I mean, just because I was in this territory this week doesn't mean the other areas didn't need support. So you got to find time when you can. That was kind of life. And then now, post pizzeria, we've sold our pizzeria. She's like, you seem kind of bored. Are you thinking of, like, I don't know, maybe I'll get back on the road again. So, I don't know. You just got to go through all these cycles. That's, thankfully I've had the experience to understand what is and what isn't um, available out there. And it's just funny because I enjoy building all those relationships and, seeing
absolutely,
all those businesses. In that time, we probably opened 120 restaurants. So saw a lot, got a lot of experience, but missed a lot here. And that was
absolutely.
tough. There was not a fair trade.
No, and it typically isn't, unfortunately, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's, again, back to these guys over here. They don't want to send in emails after 5 o'clock. They don't, they want you to have your family time and not focus on this on the weekends. You know what? A type personalities like yourself, me, that are just kind of always geared to do things. We're always working anyway. Saturdays we'll take calls, we'll send texts or emails. We don't mind doing those things because that's just who we are. Eric likes to call it work life integration instead of work life balance because he's nonstop too. He's the same kind. He's talking to pizza folks on Sundays, and he's got the kids throughout the week, and he just does this thing all day every day, and it's just kind of the way we seem to be all wired. Just kind of just do it, but
I
not
like
expected.
that point integration. Like, well, then you can bring like let's bring the family into it too. So that becomes part of it. I do like that. Since you've come on with Perfect Crust, have you met some owners, some operators that have really just been like a huge inspiration, or you just saw a success story where you've been able to just change something for somebody in their shop?
I don't know if I've made necessarily a major change. I've definitely introduced our product to some folks that were in need of it and saw the need for it, and just kind of see the aha moments. Like I've been missing this, and a lot of times you'll find the information right in front of you. A lot of times the reviews tell you, hey, you've got a problem. We work with our bread and butter obviously is the single pizza operator or the five chain. Not, we do work with some larger folks like Little Caesars and Simple Simon, CC's, and that are obviously focused on improving their quality and deliverables. And but those guys that are our bread and butter that get it. Mike Bausch with the Andolinis, he uses our product. He understands the need to deliver high quality goods every single time. So introducing folks and getting them to have that mindset and to take our product to enhance what they're already doing. Because the problem with pizza delivery is 9 times out of 10 is that it's a DoorDash or it's whatever. That individual doesn't have that care for your product like you do. Your employees obviously are trained to have that mindset and they're engaged. But once it goes out that door, it's what's going to get there. So, and one bad review can really derail some things for an operator. So this just helps keep that quality there. Let me get my liner here. I got to get my plug in real quick. So the thing about these things is it's such a simplistic product, and that's one of the things I liked about it. But it's so effective. So it's got these bi-directional bumps. I don't know if you can see them on the video well, but there's bumps that actually hold that pizza up, and then there's dimples that trap the grease in the air or the grease in the moisture, and then allows that air to circulate to keep that pizza warmer, crisper upon delivery, so it's not a soggy mess by the time it gets to your customer's front door.
Yeah, dual
It's just
action.
yeah, it's a crazy product. It's a crazy simple product, but it's highly effective. It's unbelievable. Like when I went up there to do my meet and greet with everybody, they did what we call the perfect crust challenge, and they had two separate pizzas, one on it, one off, and they had them in the hot bag and the pizza bag, and yanked them out, and you could see the bottom of the crust difference. You could see the grease trapped in the one. You could see the crispness still in the other. The temperature difference. I mean, it was no brainer for me to go. I can do this. I can definitely be a part of this.
Yeah. So I mean, and I just love that approach. Like, you get to believe in it before you ever decide that you're going to go sell it. What kind of pushback do you get when you're out there introducing the product? I imagine as an operator, it's always, first going to be, well, how much does it cost? Can I afford to add whatever this cost is to my pizza? Can I do that?
Yep.
Is that the biggest
Yeah.
objection
Oh
you're
yeah.
seeing out there right now?
Yeah, so I kind of the answer typically is you're absolutely right. We're not going to be the cheapest on the market. We're not going to be the least inexpensive, but we're also not a piece of wax paper that's pushing it all that moisture and grease back up into your pizza. We're also helping you grow your quality and grow your deliverables and those things. And again, we always talk. Eric and I, Nick, on our calls, we always talk about you can't save your way to prosperity. You got lots of pizza operators. Obviously, they focus on their ingredients, to having the highest quality ingredients and making sure that those things are right. They spend so much time on perfecting their dough and how they go about cooking their pizza. Even down to the oven, everything is so thought out that this somewhat becomes an afterthought. So they do see it as, oh, that's just more, pennies out of my dollar.
Yeah.
But once the effect has taken place and they realize that how effective it is, that it boosts that level of quality. I think that turns the head pretty quick.
Yeah. So does it? I mean, I guess that comes with a demonstration, right?
Absolutely. And we joke all the time. Samples equal sales. So we try to get folks samples. We have a website. You go to perfectcrust.com and there's a sample link. We'll send you free samples. We're not even going to charge you for them. We'll send you some to try out and see what you think. We want your honest feedback. And we're not for everybody. We're for a lot of folks though that really do want to make sure that their pizza's quality every single time.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that you guys do that. But then part of me is thinking like, dude, come on. Everyone already knows that this stuff works. Like it's like what are we selling here? We're selling a solution that's already been proven. It's already been tested time and time again. We've all gotten pizzas with perfect crust liners in them, and I think we all know. But I guess sometimes we got to fight the
Yeah.
monster in our own
Yeah.
heads. Is my operation actually broken? Is there a leak in my boat? Do I need to do this because it's been working without it? But come on, I love and I'll put the link in the show description. But yeah, if we can get somebody a sample, that'd be great.
Well, and too, I get it. You're right, but let's think about what else you have out there for liners. So you could put it on a cardboard, cutout circle, and all you're doing is protecting your box. You're not doing anything to help your pizza, and then you could put it directly on the box, but then you got potential challenges with leak through. You're not protecting it. And again, if you're going to put all that time and effort into creating a quality product for your consumer, why wouldn't you do everything possible to protect it? Right. And that's what the product does. And that's the biggest thing. And the other thing is, so you throw that pizza on that box, right? If you've ever seen how corrugate's made, you'd think twice. This is also a virgin paper. It's biodegradable, it's compostable. Nothing's ever been on this. So it's a clean product. It's a green product. It's not going to transfer that flavor that box can sometimes create to your pizza. So, it just has some array of benefits.
Oh, I love.
Running a pizza shop is not easy. You're juggling orders, staff, and everything in between. That's exactly why I teamed up with Thrive POS. They're a company that built their POS system for pizzeria operators who live this every single day. I've worked with their team before, and I've seen firsthand how focused they are on making tech that actually fix our workflow. It's not the other way around. So if you're ready to simplify your operations, streamline your online orders, and get better control of your shop, this is the move. Head on over to thrivepos.com/Pizza King to see exactly what they're doing for operators all across the country. Again, that's thrivepos.com/Pizza King and get the exclusive offer. Now let's get back to the episode.
I love that too. And I've obviously seen, the competing liners, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen the mesh screen type deal. We've seen the corrugated, cardboard, perfect, little deal. And I don't know. It's all those things. You get them, you go through that case, and then you never order another one because it's like, why are we protecting the pizza box?
Yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. And then, even you think too, also, a lot of operators are in small square footage, small footprints. They don't have a lot of room for stores. But the cardboard deals 250 is, this tall. This is this tall.
Yeah.
There's different advantages for everything. And it's just, to me, it's no brainer because I see the impact it makes. And again, you look at folks like Mike Bausch, fantastic operator, owns 12 restaurants. He's been very successful
Close to you too.
Yeah, he is. Well, and again, he goes down to this level. Like, that's his thought process. Like, how do I make sure I cover all bases? Like, to make sure everything's the way I want it delivered every time. So to even get down to this level of going, my pizza liner needs to be right. And he actually did a video for us not too long ago. And he said, the first thing he said, I'm not even going to tell you about it. We already know why to use them, is exactly what he said to start the video. Like, we know the why. Why aren't you is the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it requires you to look at yourself if you're not doing it. Why don't I want that level of quality? And obviously you guys are moving on into, different sizes. We've seen like huge rise in Detroit style and square.
Mhm.
You guys are,
We
serving
have
all of
those.
those needs as well too.
Absolutely. I want to say we go from 7 to 20 inch, and then we've got the 8 by 10, 10 by 14. I don't have all the sizes in front of me. I'm going off the top of head, but
Yeah.
yeah, we cover the need for sure. Absolutely.
Jeez. I saw a guy, actually I talked to a guy, and he's actually not too far from you either, in Oklahoma, but they were doing pizzas in bags, not boxes. Like he was,
That seems
I was like, dude, but they put it was on a tray, on a cardboard tray, and then in a bag. And I'm like, how in the world? But it was because it works for us. He's like, I can put 500 bags under my table right here, and you know how versus 10 bundles of boxes. But I'm wondering, have you guys seen that? Is that something that the liner would help to protect as well?
It would. I'm just thinking to myself, like you think about all that steam and heat from a hot pizza in a bag. Like I don't know if there's enough liners on the planet to stop that amount of moisture getting built up. It sounds to me like it'd be that condensation effect like a can. I have not seen that. I didn't know somebody was doing that. I think that's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know if
I
it's
kind
still
of get the thought process.
yeah, I don't know if he's still open anymore, but it was the Pizza Shack overall. He's like over Route 66 over there.
I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, kids connected to Chicken Shack over there. But he said it was huge in the Midwest where he was from, like Missouri, in that Missouri area where they were doing pizza in bags. I'd never seen it before. I'll send you a video on. I'll send it to
Yeah,
you.
that's actually that's pretty interesting to be honest. That's the kind of it sounds. I'm trying to think of how that would work, but it sounds, a bit. Hey,
I'm
like I
like,
said, we're not for everybody, and some folks have their method, and that they stick to it, and you can't fault them. So
yeah. What's the retention like once you get somebody into a liner?
I don't know if we've lost a customer. I mean,
Yeah.
it really. I mean, once they start using us and really see the benefit of the product, they're on board. It's the aha moment. The light went off. Like I should have been using these forever ago. And it's just it. They don't go anywhere once they join the crust family. They're seem to be in for life. So
Get that sample to them, and then here.
yeah, yeah, and I wish it was that simple. I wish it was that simple, but it's definitely it's a lot of fun though. I tell you what, it's this community of pizza folks is probably the most fun I've ever had at work. Not only do I get to try some amazing pizza and meet some amazing folks, but just the level of, like you just put out a link for a leadership help book, just put it out there for free. And everybody's always trying to help each other. I was at a Pizza Expo in Columbus and it was the first time I'd been to the expo there. And I went to go watch some of the competitions and literally it's a competition. And the two guys, and I couldn't tell you who they were, but the two guys literally were sliding each other ingredients and helping each other. And I'm like, you guys are competing and
But
they
not
were helping
really.
each other. Yeah. And they were helping each other. So that says it all about these guys. That's all I know.
And I think when you have, there is a certain amount of community and camaraderie in pizza. And when you start to bring the vendors and suppliers into that as well, it just makes it better. I think for a long time it was, what am I giving up to do this? Or what is it going to cost me? Or, how are they helping my business when it's, how are we all going to help the industry get better when if we can test these products, if we can, help these guys with feedback, develop an even better liner? How do
Mhm.
we continue to grow and thrive as a community? And I love that you guys have just leaned into pizza like that. I mean, and it's not just liners. You do bags too, right? Other
Absolutely.
packaged goods.
We do bags. We've thought of it all. This one's got a handle underneath. They're pretty incredible bags. Who knew there was different levels of Velcro, but there is. The best Velcro on the market. There's actually a reflective strip on the inside that help maintain that heat. They tied the handle together on this thing, and again, this here you can't drop it. You've got it there, and it's not going to slide off. And then it's also got reflective on the outside, so that your driver going up to the door in the dark can be seen.
I
So
mean,
potential lawsuit getting saved.
covered all the bases.
They really have. These guys, if you could meet these guys, they're thought process on things and just how they kind of come to these things. They listen to feedback, which is huge, right? How many folks do you know in business that are like, I'm doing it my way. I know what I'm doing and don't take feedback well. And these guys listen to everything, and they actually have redesigned this bag. I want to say twice, maybe. I could be wrong about that, but they've really worked to ensure quality. Same with their liners. If you saw Jeff, the gentleman who created this, there's a video floating around of him working at his dining room table with a dimple deal, making one at a time to patent this thing.
Wow.
And so it's a lot of thought put into this, and it's been a lot of trial and error and test and to get it right. And that's just who they are as folks, and they care. That's the thing. They actually care about helping deliver that quality to help improve the pizza industry as a whole. And it's not just trying to make a buck. And they're involved in everything. They give back in different ways. They do a lot of sponsorships at like things like the expo. They just try to get involved in more than just selling a liner, and they're just good. They're just
I love it. I love to hear it. And I'm all about leadership too. I think you also have this unique perspective where you get to see a lot of different shops and you
Yep.
get to just experience it in different ways, and you see leadership in different facets. In your opinion, what do you think separates the shops that are like killing it and executing versus the shops that you're like, these guys aren't gonna, they're not gonna buy it, they're not gonna do it?
Well, one I would think as far as is having a consistent engagement with social. We talk about renting mind space or being the most visible in the industry, and doing that through our own personal social, our company social. And Eric brought up a good point. It's about how you go about it, right? You start doing nothing but post a picture of your food. That's all anybody sees. They just scroll past. He likes to put it in stages. He's called it, one, you got to be personal. People need to know you. They're not always buying your product, they're buying you.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to share stuff about yourself, and the things that you're involved in and the things that you enjoy. And then community second, like what's going on in your local communities. The PTA meeting, they're funding for needed, are doing a fundraiser for cancer. And then it's business, because we share the others. It gives us kind of the right to do that, right? To talk about our business, and to let folks know what we're doing and what we're trying to work towards. So using social, right? Also, a lot of guys will do a great job of using social to take pictures of their pizza or their this, using the video function, and showing more of what folks are going to walk into. Eric brought up, again, I'm leveraging some things he said, but we were talking on a call with the World Pizza Champs, and he brought up on there that you look at our generation, we were the figure it out folks, right? We'd walk into any situation, we're just going to figure it out, because that's what we did. Communication was different back then. You had to literally go to a landline to call someone. You might have had a beeper, or you went over to someone's house to talk to them, or you even wrote a letter, whatever it was. Now kids have nothing but phones, and they do a lot of their communication via text and or social. So they're not comfortable in those real life environments. So doing things like showing your front door and what you're walking into. Maybe your host is there with a smile to say, welcome to wherever, and then showing the bartender, and hey, what's your drink of the day, and showing your whole experience a little bit through your video and your business, and making yourself making that generation a little more comfortable, could help draw on that class of customer. And I just think again, be you.
Yeah,
Be you. Don't try to go up there and be, hi, I'm selling you a pizza. Be you. Be the person that you are with your folks at work, that you are with your family, because I think that level of connection will help you drive your business.
absolutely. How do you as a vendor and supplier come in and start to build trust?
Well, and that's kind of goes back to basically anything I've done. It's just being honest about what you're there for. It's about following through with what you say you're going to do, and it's about being consistent in those two things. And I think if you do that, you're gonna make headway. You're gonna move the needle, whether it's slow or fast. And that's one thing I've had to learn with this organization. I'm like, I gotta get a sale today. That's how I came in the door, and they're like, slow down. It doesn't happen like that. Relax. And they have to remind me, like, you don't have a quota to hit tomorrow. You're trying to build the brand. You're trying to help us grow what it is we're doing. We're trying to help folks. We're trying to do these things, and it comes with time. And they always talk about, you're going to fill your funnel. And it's funny. Mine's slowly filling, and I have conversation with different distributors and different sales guys and different pizza guys, and I'm starting to have more and more of that happen, and it's comforting in a way to know that I am making progress, but I still kind of have that corporate mentality of, got to hit that number for the end of the month. I got to make it happen. I'm still trying to quiet that a little bit. Eric said it'll be every bit of 6, 7, 8 months before that finally calms down in me, but we'll see.
Oh, that's funny. I was gonna ask, but you kind of led into it a little bit. But what kind of standards do you hold for yourself when in terms of representing the brand?
I just try to stick to the honest approach, and line I'll use a lot of times. Hey, look, we're both in pizza. We should probably know each other. And I don't go in there to try to forcefully sell. I offer a sample. I said, I just want to make you aware I'm in the area. This is what we offer. If there's any question I can answer for you, I'm here. Here's my business card. Here's some free samples. Give them a shot. Once you've done that, give me a call. Let's talk about it. And then if they give me their information, I'll call them if I haven't heard from them in a week or so. And I just try to do some small follow up. But I don't go in there trying to be a pressured salesperson. I don't think this product requires that. I think that, again, once they understand what it is and what it does, it kind of does that for them. But how many folks go knock at a pizzeria's door and try to beat them down for something when they're really working with such small margin as it is? that is it effective for them. So once I sell that effective piece to them and they kind of come on board with that, I think it kind of takes over from there.
Where and you guys, obviously you got some great products and you really have done a good job to improve the delivery experience. What signals, and I think you said something earlier about just looking at your reviews, like, but what are some of the other signals that an operator should look at to say, maybe I do need to take a look at my experience, or putting some checks in
Order
place to help us do it.
Order your own pizza to go without your liner. Order your own pizza to go. Do it through DoorDash. Do it to an address. Don't tell them it's you. Don't tell your store it's you. Don't send yourself. Let it get to the destination and take a look at it. Look at the bottom of that crust. Look at the bottom of the box. How does it look? Is it absorbed, soaked with grease? And is that pizza what you want hitting the door? Send it to yourself. And reviews again. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be in there. If you know people, they've got an opinion. They're gonna share it. There's no doubt. You've been on the internet plenty. Folks have got something to say about something. So
All the time.
yeah. So and a lot of times it'll be right there in front of you. And again, back to you're trusting organizations like DoorDash and other folks to deliver. And back to the bag thing, we sell the best bag on the market. It's not going to be your least inexpensive again, but it's the best bag on the market. Those ones that the DoorDash guys get, trash. Sorry, I'm
We
going
need
to
to
say
sell
it.
that bag to DoorDash.
I hit him up in the Columbus Expo, and I shouldn't say trash. It's probably not the right word to use for
It
it, but
is.
as far as quality to quality, it's nowhere in the same ballpark. I should say that, I guess, but it's just those small things make a difference in how you go about perceiving your own business, and be realistic with yourself too. Be realistic about what it is that you're capable of delivering. You got to remember, not everybody's you. God, if everybody was you, you'd have the perfect business, right? Everything would just go everywhere. They don't have that same passion for it. They're not the owners of it. They're getting paid a wage to do the job, so they're going to give you what effort they're going to give you. And they're not always going to do it the same way. And quality control is probably the hardest thing a pizza place has to conquer, is the same consistent delivery, because not everybody's you.
Yeah. So get out there, experience it the way that your customers experience it,
I think that,
at the deepest corner of your delivery territory, and
yeah,
versus waiting in the dining room. I think that's great advice. You've given us some good stuff here. I appreciate you. Well, how can the listeners get some samples from you?
we're real simple. You just go to perfectcrust.com. There's a little green link on the side that says sample link. Go in there, fill out the information. You can tell us the size. It'll ask you what size of pieces. We also sell a bakeable tray. It's very similar. It still has the dimples and still does that job, but this is actually meant for take and bake, or to when you're cooking, sending it out like a Papa Murphy's or type deal or whatnot.
Like a par bake or something?
Yeah, par bake. There's the word I was looking for. But they can bake up to 425 degrees. It does the same thing. You stick this thing right in the oven. The only thing we say is don't touch the edge of your ovens, because it will melt. It
Okay.
will melt. But other than that, it serves the same purpose. And
Does it have to go on a rack, or can it go on like a stone or a steel in the oven?
It can go directly on the rack. Go on the stone if you want. It can do either one. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
pretty cool. I have to look more into that one too. I bet that's got some use for the home bakers.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that we do have a couple guys that do that with their videos, that'll cook from home and they'll use these instead of having to dirty up a whole bunch of stuff. And they own their own
Yeah.
pizzerias, but they do their making this special one at home for the family, and so I've seen some pretty neat videos with those too.
Oh man, what's your go-to pizza order?
It's funny. I think it's become my favorite. I didn't know about it until not too long ago. And Dustin Jones, he's one of the guys with Simple Simons, and Eric introduced me to it. But it's a pepperoni pizza with green olives, and they call it God's Salt.
God's
And
salt.
God's Salt, and I'm telling you, it's definitely up there with. It's in my top three at least. But it is so good. It's the right amount of salt with the pepperoni. It's phenomenal. I love it. I just love
Wow.
it.
I've never tried that one. I've actually never had green olives on a pizza ever.
Me neither. I didn't even know it was a thing. I had no idea.
Yeah, that
I
may
see
be
green olives, and I think more. I think
exactly. I have to try that. I'm gonna write it down. Just pick up a little jar of green olives and try it here at the house. See if I can get the kids to try it.
one other thing I was thinking about while we were talking. I was listening to one of your podcasts the other day about identifying the next leader, and I think that that's such a, back to my previous life, it's such a critical skill to have, whether you're in a leadership role or you own your own business. Remembering again, not everyone's you, but we tend to get focused so heavy on what we're doing, we tend to miss what others are doing, and those small things like those picking up, stuff off the ground, that kind of stuff that you were talking about is so critical. But I also like to remember personality management as well. Folks always think you can broad brush everything. Everyone's triggers are different. Everyone's pushes are different. One guy might need a swift kick in the rear to get him going for the day. Another one might just need a pat on the back. Another one just might need to be left alone. There's some folks that work better with just nothing at all. What do you need me to do? And they're off and gone. Other folks need a detailed list. And then, like you said, identifying those leaders, do you have that person that shows up and is the consistent go-to person in your business? If you've got them, start growing them, put them underneath your wing. You may not have that position today. You might not have it in 6 months. You might not have it for a year. But if you start doing the work now with that person you've identified, when that time's right, you're going to have that person to pull the trigger with, and you're going to be ready to rock and roll. And it's such a critical component of the business. And leadership reflects leadership. So if you're a good leader, guess what? You're going to have a good leader.
That's right. Leaders
So
create leaders.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
you can pass on your bad habits just as easily as your
Oh,
good
that's
habits. So,
absolutely. Yes,
we
absolutely.
try to coach and teach that all the time. And a lot of folks are getting it, and it's coming around because look, labor is expensive and turnover is even more expensive. So
Yes.
you're almost forced to figure it out with your team. But now we just want to make sure that we give them the tools and
Right.
the tips and the just the guidance to make that work and make it happen. Which is why, like today, we just released a 21-day workbook, a training book. We want to always do things like that and give advice and have these episodes and these guests that come on and talk about what that experience is like, because it's gonna matter. And look, you got kids, I got kids. They're gonna work for somebody one day.
Mhm. Yeah.
Most likely, I want that person to at least be sensible enough to be a good leader. And if I'm here, I'm going to do my part to make sure that happens.
My oldest now is 24, and I've got a 22-year-old, and they're out in the job world, and they're successful. My son's 17, and he's out in the job world now and starting to make his mark. And that's one thing I think I have done well is instill the good work ethic and the need to do things better than the guy left or right of you. Mine might be a little ego driven, I don't know, but I've always been the type of guy that's like, I'm in competition with myself, but I'm always trying to beat the guy left and right of me. Not because I want to beat him for any other reason than to win, but it's my
I want to get the
motivators.
best out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I
It's
get
how it
that out of
is.
myself.
I have brothers, and I grew up the same way. It's like, I love my brother. I'll do anything for him, but I
I
am going
want
to
to beat
beat
them.
him today.
I'm with you 100% with you. The other thing I
Like,
say,
you
because
can't
you're
beat my
absolutely
brother, but I can beat my brother.
no, you can't say a bad thing about my brother. You can't, nothing but me. I'm gonna give
That's
him a
right.
rash. So the other thing, when you talk about, you're right, staffing is extremely challenging right now. In this environment, I don't know the reason why, unfortunately, but it is challenging. Turnover is tough. Finding those right people is tough. But you also cannot be afraid to fire. And nobody wants to do it. No one wants to get rid of somebody. Everybody wants to see the best in everyone. But if you have staff that is not fulfilling the need of your business and holding on to them, you're going to create a culture within inside of your business that's going to affect you just as bad as not being staffed. I used to always tell my guys, like, would be afraid to pull the trigger on somebody that honestly shouldn't have been part of the organization. Is what's the difference? You're paying this guy not to do the job, so you're over here doing the job, or you got to go out there and do the job until you find that person. It's the same difference. The difference is you're just not paying this guy over here to do the work you're already doing.
And that guy's stressing out everybody on the team. You got to
Everybody.
go.
You just gotta go, and it sucks. I mean, that's the worst part of the job, right? That's the worst part of any leadership job, is having to be the guy to make those tough decisions. But you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
you just got.
And the reality is you'll lose your good people
And then
because you were afraid to pull the trigger on a bad one.
also hire people that are smarter than you. Don't again. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I can't do everything the best, so I look for the people in my areas of weakness that can do it better than me. Because if they can do better than me, it makes me look good. I did my part,
Yeah.
right?
It makes us all better.
Yeah, and I get to learn still, and I'm still learning. And that's the other thing: learn from your staff, learn from your people. They can teach you things. I don't care how high up the ladder you get. The guy mopping the floor can teach you something.
Yeah, because he's the guy doing it.
There it is.
You got to
There it is.
you got to do it, man. I agree 100% with all of that, and I hope that leaders take heed, because what burns people out is the fact that you have to do everything on your own. and you can't trust another person, and you can't depend on somebody, or you don't have the skills to teach them, that will burn you out and put a bad taste in your mouth, and it'll kill your business, and before your opportunity ever has the chance to sprout. So,
Well, remember, there's two difference, right? There's a leader and there's a manager. Being a manager is easy. Anyone can point their fingers and do this, that, and the other, or manage the ordering or manage the schedule writing. You can teach that to almost anyone. Being a leader takes heart, takes passion, takes desire, takes the want to make others succeed. If you've got those things going, you're already paddling uphill. Or paddling upstream. Fine. You're going against the tide. You're moving the needle. You're going to make things happen. You've got to have that passion to want to see to want the best out of your folks, and you got to figure out what those things are that trigger them to move that direction. Not everybody's the same. Again, if everybody was you, your business would be perfect all the time, all the
or it
time.
wouldn't exist.
Yeah, or wouldn't exist. That's true too. So
I love it. You lead people and manage processes.
yes,
That's the
absolutely.
reality of it.
Yep, that's a great way to put it.
Man, Greg, this is really good. I know that you always post content, and you're active on social media with showing the product and doing those things. I appreciate that. Really, the reason in the way that we connected. If you don't mind, I'll put a link to your Facebook page on there in the show description, so folks can follow you and connect with you, but also go order a case of liners or a sample liner and
I'd love to get you a
sample
sample
for your shop.
I'd love to get you a sample. And again, all my socials, Greg T. Bell. You can find me anywhere on that. Again, it's perfectcrust.com. It's real simple. There's a sample link. Again, it's in a green little tab to the right of the screen when you log in to our website. It's a great product. It's a great people. They care about what you do as a business. They want the success for everyone. They're not a money driven type deal. It's the same as the folks in the community. They want to deliver a great product, and that's what their focus is to how do we help folks do that, and how do we grow our business? Of course, there's make a dollar, but how do we grow our business? But let's do it right. Let's take care of the operator. Let's take care of the pizzerias. Let's take care of the people that are out there just grinding day in and day out. And let's help them do that by, having a great product. And it's a great environment. And I really appreciate you having me on. I love talking about leadership. I love talking about how to improve. Again, just talking with you, my mind's already spinning on things like I could do differently or I could do better. So I've already in the back of my mind, I enjoy your podcast. I think you've got some great touch points that folks, if they are listening and paying attention, they can definitely learn from. So really, really appreciate the time with you today, and appreciate having me on. I'd love to do it again anytime. Maybe I get Eric to join me. We can sit side by side. Maybe we'll lock arms or something. And
come on, now you put it out there. It's got to happen.
It's got to happen. I mean, he's so much different than me. It's so funny because I've been trying to do the videos. The first ones I did, I was like, I couldn't. And he's just Mr. Gets on there. He's like, hey, what's going on? And it's just, Mr.
And he can improv like nothing too. I've seen the videos. He's so good. I'm gonna send him a picture of you and say, look, who's missing here?
Yeah, who's missing? Yeah, we'll crop him in over here, looking over my shoulder back here or something. So.
No, this is really fun. Thanks again for taking the time, and we'll be in contact. And I know I'll see you in Vegas, and
for sure,
and we'll bring everybody on, or at least get Eric on, or get some more folks from the team just to come on, tell their stories, talk about leadership, talk about building a business, and managing relationships.
The experience in the room with these guys. There's some. We got Brian owned his own pizzeria. You got Greg Good, which is the other Greg. There's two Gregs, which is weird. It's such a small organization. He worked for Tyson for 22 years, I think. So, these guys have been around the block and been in the food industry for a long time, and they know it, and they care. And it's funny. I keep talking about the care that these folks have. It's why I'm sitting here. It's why I'm with this organization, is because I could feel that level of give a crap. They just really want to do well for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm lucky. Greg Good also always says, who's got it better than us? we work with some great people, and we're lucky.
Hey, well, I love it. Good guys, good product. Give them a shot, guys. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate you. This has been really fun. We'll put all your information there, and you have to come back again soon.
Absolutely, man. Sounds great.
If you've gotten any value out of this episode or any of our other episodes, I need you to do me a favor. Go leave us a review.
Every review on Apple, every 5-star rating on Spotify helps this show find more operators just like you and helps them get that same value that you're taking away from this episode. And as a thank you, anytime somebody leaves a review, sends me a screenshot, just DM me a screenshot of your review, I'm going to send you a free gift, something awesome, something cool. I'll send you a gift, whoever leaves a review. That's the challenge. Go leave a review, DM me a screenshot of it, and then I'll get you something. I got you something special from your boy. Now let's get back into the episode. Peace.